philosophy is the key to the map of the world. That is one of the major statements made by Kumaraswamy. The baked will make the half baked and convert it into a completely fully baked. The complete will make the other part complete. That is the beauty of a couple. Is he an exhibitionist of his knowledge or wisdom? Certainly not. He is telling people of the world, please come here. So much of knowledge lore has been created by all the people before the advent of modernity. Kumaraswamy's phraseology or Shabdavali is ancients, not Eastern, not Western, not Occidental, not Oriental. People who are wise, they have created so much of things, they have thought about the relationship. This entire quest of both Renegon and Ananda Kumaraswamy is about relationship. When one person calls Vedas, Rigveda as the factory of gods, that is not correct, because there is an entire system behind it. There is an entire political thought, social thought, adhyatmic thought, and different other thoughts are present in the Vedic literature. I was introduced to Anand Kumaraswamy, like many Kannada speaking people and many Kannada book lovers, through Dr. S.L. Bhairappa. He is an Indian author who writes in Kannada language. So he has written his novel called Dharmashri. So incidentally, madam, in that novel, one of the heroine of the novel, Karuna Ratne, she is from Sri Lanka, and Sadashiva, Professor Rao. So he marries her as a second marriage because they both were scholars interested in the field of art, history and all that. Perhaps they meet in Ajanta while they are going for the field work. In a way, my topic is marriage, but not the mortal marriage, Laukika Madhve alla, not the mortal marriage, but the marriage which takes place between sky and earth, between the matter and the spirit, between the intellect and the valor, between the Brahma and the Kshatra. This is the topic upon which this great work by Dr. Ananda Kumaraswamy has been written. I will come to that topic later. Anyway, I have to speak. But when I read Dr. Bhairappa's book, in that, one, he has dedicated the book to Dr. Ananda Kumaraswamy, that novel. Second one, in that novel also, the characters, they talk about some great names, including Kumaraswamy and Sister Nivedita. That means, many of the young people in our generation, maybe later also, when sitting in a small town like Hassan, reading from a circulating library in those 1980s, I was thrilled. Who is this Kumaraswamy? Because Sister Nivedita I was knowing little bit after reading about Swami Vivekananda. That means he has used knowledge, he has used novel, which is an art form, pure art form, to introduce about a great art philosopher, Ananda Kumaraswamy. In that way, I started my journey. Whatever was available to me in Hassan city, in the government library, I used to go and read those books. I was not understanding anything. Today also I am not understanding much, to be very sincere. Then I got to know that this is one of his very important books, The Dance of Shiva, because this presentation I am doing mainly for the young people in the hall. Then I purchased this book in the year 1995. I was 20 years old at that time. I came to Vedanta Book House, one of the most important bookshops in Bangalore, from Hassan. I was not having money to buy the ticket. Somehow I arranged the money and I came, had one idli, coffee, and I purchased the book, and again I went back. Means the spirit, the passion created by Bhairappa brought me to Vedanta Book House to purchase this book. Till today, this book is with me. There are other versions available, but this book, wherever I go, I carry with me as a treasure. Because this has given me so many things about art, about philosophy, about my country, my nation, my culture, our culture. In this, one important aspect he mentions, I think in this article called What India Has Contributed, the first article, in that he says that philosophy is the key to the map of the world. That is one of the major statements made by Kumaraswamy. If today, if people may have different opinions, there are many great scholars here, that if we have defigured, though not destroyed, anything in the last 200 years, it is not Samskrita, it is not Kavya, it is not Shilpa, but according to me, it is philosophy. It is our darshana. Because the people who know it, they don't know how to communicate. People there who want to know, they don't know how to seek it. But most of our treasure, whether in art or in architecture, everything has its umbilical cord, the mother root, the matru, mula, beru in philosophy. Therefore, I have taught in universities or colleges for 12 years, 13 years, and our professor, he is there from Baroda. So most of the times we go to the European institutions, Edward Bullough or many others, I.A. Richards or any other great institutions from the European or the American continent. There is nothing wrong in that, but we don't have access to this literature. I think Nagarajji in his opening remarks, he raised an important question, that why Kumaraswamy now? What is the relevance now? Because to go back to our philosophy. We are all talking about our art, our dharma, our dharma shastra, our Ramayana, Mahabharata. That's all fine. That is very much required. But what is the purpose of Vyasa, or purpose of Valmiki, or purpose of the great seers? Not only to tell very interesting stories, of course they are all with human passion, everything, but there is some thought behind it, some moral principle behind it, some civilizational values behind it. Who has to teach us? Again, our own teachers, our own professors, our own media. But we know the status of our media in the modern context. Therefore, spiritual and this Ananda Kumaraswamy seminar is important in a way that it takes us to philosophy class, it takes us to philosophy department through art department, through architecture department, through painting, through metaphors, through images, Rupaka, figure of speech and figure of thought. That is one of his book. So he takes us to those realms of forgotten parts of our consciousness, not only for India, even for the West, which is ruled by the harsh realities of modernity, the cruelties of the modernity, namely competition, jealousy, destruction of earth, destruction of water resources, and disrespecting the guild, disrespecting the local artistic communities. These are all philosophical questions for Ananda Kumaraswamy as he grew. First he started as a geologist, later attracted towards art and artifacts. So he became more like art historian in the normal sense of the term. Means he used to talk about Mauryan art, Gupta art, Shunga art in his introduction to Indian art. But later he evolved himself. There is an Vikasa in him as an author or as a thinker. Later he started giving more elaborate picture about art, architecture from philosophical background. This is my topic now. Where did he got the bedrock philosophy or the very substantial what we can call pointers for his developing his second phase of thought? Because my topic is not about first part of his talk or his research or his contribution. Second part of Ananda Kumaraswamy becomes more and more pedantic, more and more scholarly, more and more garlanded with footnotes and endnotes, whatnot. Why? Is he exhibiting his scholarship? Is he an exhibitionist of his knowledge or wisdom? Certainly not. He is telling etad desha prasutasya, like in Manusmriti it comes, people of the world, please come here. So much of knowledge lore has been created by all the people before the advent of modernity, before the birth of 14th century, birth of the modern Europe or the so-called Mughal India. Lot of things have happened in China to Canada. Therefore, when he talks about art, there is no distinction in his thinking that this is the classical period, this is the modern period. Somehow he will not dwell much into the modern period because he has his own philosophical disagreements with the modernity. That's a different topic which is very deeply discussed in his book, What is Civilization? For him, civilization, to quote Thomas Aquinas, is the city of God, what we say Devaloka. So the city of God should be brought back here. Therefore, he calls that script in which the ancient civilization is scripted as Devanagari. Now you can appreciate his thought. In which you will construct Devanagara, the script is called Devanagari. For him, it is not the script in which Sanskrit or Hindi is written. That is there at one level, physical level. But at the metaphysical level, so he is talking about in which script you have to construct the modern civilization. In the script of Devanagari, you have to construct this civilization. Then only it will become a place worth for everybody to live. Now, in this background, when he was searching for something, he got lot of good inputs from Brahmanas. Dr. Ganeshji was mentioning about Brahmana literature used by Ananda Kumaraswamy. Extensively, he has used the original Shatapatha Brahmana and other Brahmana literature, and also the translation of Egling. Again, it is published from IGNCA. Egling's Shatapatha Brahmana has been translated. It was translated, it was again brought in the new edition by IGNCA, that Brahmana literature is there. Because at that time, perhaps, in India also, our scholars, they were taking more time in talking about or giving importance to the Vedic literature, namely Rigveda and other three Vedas, and the Upanishads, perhaps not that much importance was given. If I am wrong, please forgive me and guide me. Not to the Brahmana literature. There were scholars, but not much. He got his idea, or he didn't get his ideas, because as he is not telling no idea belongs to me, everything is coming from the tradition. ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಹಿಂದಿನಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೂರ್ವಿಕರಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. Like that he is telling everything is coming from the ancestors. But this was there in the Vedic literature, hidden somewhere in the Brahmana literature, Brahmana part of it. He found it. But before he found it, he had one of his mentors in Europe, a French philosopher. His name is René Gon. Normally when we Indians gather and we talk, or similarly Europeans when they gather and talk, they may forget the scholars or the great souls of the other part of the world, which is not the nature of Kumaraswamy's thought. So this, or Kumaraswamy's line of thinking. René Gon, this is the book, René Gon. This is not a big book, it is just 84 pages book. It's a booklet. This is, the name of this book is Spiritual Authority and Temporal Power. This was published in 1939. Ananda Kumaraswamy, it is a French book. Ananda Kumaraswamy played an important role in getting it into English. But according to my studies, he was not, though he appreciated and he agreed on the line of argument of René Gon. I will come to that, what is René Gon's line of argument in relation with this topic. But he developed it based on lot of examples, footnotes, cross-references from Vedic literature. So that is this book, Spiritual Authority and Temporal Power in the Indian Theory of Government. This is Ananda Kumaraswamy's work, this is René Gon's work. Both the books are there. We may be deceived at the outset by seeing this is just less than 100 pages book. But to read this, it takes years or months at least. Because this is loaded with so many documents which was created by the ancients. To use Kumaraswamy's phraseology or Shabdavali, is ancients, not Eastern, not Western, not Occidental, not Oriental. People who are wise. They have created so much of things, they have thought about the relationship. This entire quest of both René Gon and Ananda Kumaraswamy is about relationship. When we talk about relationship in the modern world, many young boys and girls are here, we think about live-in relationship. We think about gay relationship. We think about lesbian relationship. We think about normal marriage, which is between a man and a woman. Considering all these things, Ananda Kumaraswamy is talking and thinking about, or he is giving a thought about the relationship between two entities which will form an ideal Rajya, an ideal state, which is the foundation for politics or the result of politics. So on what basis a Rajya, a state has to be built? A Prabhutva has to be built. This is the question. He is not talking about whether autocracy is good, democracy is good, communism is good, socialism is applies. No, he is not talking about forms of government. He is talking about the government. This is very important. He is not talking about the different types of government what you study in sociology or in political science classes. He is not talking about that. He is not even talking about the old Janapadas which existed before the Mauryas, 16 Janapadas in Magadha, Kashi, Kosala, etc. Not that. It existed in different, or not about the tribal societies which existed and exist now also in different parts of the world. But end of the day, you call whatever, either you have an arranged marriage or a love marriage, at the end of the day, once the marriage is done, everyone has gone back. The bride and bridegroom, they have to lead the life now. That is marriage life, married life. He's talking about that kind of government. Okay, after a lot of deliberations and discussions, you come to an agreement and you establish certain type of government in society or in any part of the world. How that government should be there. ಆ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಹೆಂಗಿರಬೇಕು, ಆ ಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಹೆಂಗಿರಬೇಕು, वो व्यवस्था कैसा होना चाहिए. He is talking about that. We don't know whether such kind of idealist government in the words of René Gon or in the words of Ananda Kumaraswamy existed even in India. So I am also eagerly waiting to know that whether such a system existed during even the Veda times. That idea is there. Idea is very much there. But can we very comfortably say that that kind of government also existed for hundreds of years or centuries? If you ask Professor K.S. Naranacharya, he says yes, it existed. He gives examples from Ramayana, Mahabharata and even from the old Vedic literature also. But anyway, that is left to the scholars. But here in this book, Ananda Kumaraswamy is trying to talk about the marriage between two concepts. And also, they are not only concepts, they are realities also. It's a reality. Because he starts his book from the concepts which are available in Vedas, in the Rig Veda and other Vedas. For example, in his book Spiritual Authority and Temporal Power, he says, I am quoting, we must premise that Mitra Varunau and likewise Indragni or Indra Brihaspati are synergizers or progenitive pairs, Mithunani, Mitra, Agni and Brihaspati being on one hand the divine archetypes of the sacerdotium or spiritual authority, Brahma, and Varuna and Indra, those of the regnum, Kshatra. He is taking two sets of gods, Mitra, Agni and Brihaspati on one side. That means not all the three. It may be either Mitra or Agni or Brihaspati in that order, and in another side, Varuna or the Indra. The marriage between Agni and Indra or marriage between other two deities from two parts, he is calling as the Mithuna of Brahma and Kshatra. Those two things. That means what we understand from this is, when we are talking about Vedic gods, reading Max Muller or other European writers, till Wendy Doniger and others, we will get a very, very clumsy idea about Vedic gods. That even one person calls Vedas, Rig Veda as the factory of gods. That is not correct, because there is an entire system behind it. There is an entire political thought, social thought, adhyatmic thought, and different other thoughts are present in the Vedic literature. Before Ananda Kumaraswamy wrote it, there is another good book about Hindu polity by Kashi Prasad Jaiswal, KP Jaiswal, and many other people have also written, but they are talking as a starting point from Vedas, but suddenly they will move to the Magadhas, Janapadas, Navanandas, to the Mauryas, to Shungas, and different other so-called dynasties after the Alexander's time. But here he is stopping at the Vedas only. This is the beauty of Ananda Kumaraswamy. In this entire book, he will never quote anything in modern India. According to him, the modern India starts with Chandragupta Maurya, Chanakya. Ancient India, or whatever we are calling the classical period, R.C. Majumdar and others, they will call Guptas and the Mauryas as the classical up to Harsha of Kanauj. No, he is not agreeing with that. He is not telling it, but we can decipher from his writing. He is getting enough material from Upanishads, from the Brahmana literature, and parallelly from Greek and other Christian sources, and he is building his entire theory. Normally, when I talk with the Marxist scholars, either from history department or sociology or any other department, they have an aropa on us, whom we call as nationalist people, that you don't have a theory. So that means those Marxist people, they have not read a great theoretician like Anand Kumaraswamy. He has given a complete theory of understanding about state, about the government, both about power and authority based on the perennial philosophy. That means this philosophy is eternal. This is not related to one time. This is not time bound. Somebody asked Bernard Shaw, he was writing a lot of plays about social problems. Like in our literature also, we have a lot of artists who write about contemporary subjects. Even there are many artists and art students, they are more inclined towards modern subjects, modern problems of modern society. Some new journalist or some person, people they asked Bernard Shaw, sir, one question is there, whatever the social problems you are addressing through your artistic work, tomorrow, if that problem ceases to exist, the problem is gone, is solved in one way or the other, disappeared from the society, what happens to your work of art? This question was asked to me told to me by, this insight was given to me by one English professor from Hassan. His name is Professor Manvachar. He gave me this. What happens to you? That your work of art, which is based on social theory or social problem, which has got some kind of base in the modern society, if the problem disappears, what happens to your work of art? That you can ask to Ajanta art, you can ask to Shunga art, or to the Egyptian art, they are still there, eternally standing there, waiting for us to go and appreciate. That he is calling as perennial. That which stands successfully against the test of time, that he is calling as. Here, to draw the attention of the audience, there is a difference between, there is a letter correspondence between Aldous Huxley, great thinker of 20th century, and Anand Kumaraswamy. It is there in the Letters of Anand Kumaraswamy volume, published from IGNCA. There, Aldous Huxley writes to Kumaraswamy that we both are travelling on the same path. I am not paraphrasing, just I am summarizing Aldous Huxley's letter. We both are traveling the same because we both are talking about perennial philosophies or traditional philosophies. Then Anand Kumaraswamy corrects him by writing another letter to him, Aldous Huxley. No, we both are traveling, but there is a difference. For me, tradition is, when I call somebody as a traditionalist, there should not be any choice. This is Anand Kumaraswamy's position. If you are a traditionalist, if I say I am traditionalist in the Indian context, I am accepting whatever comes from my sampradaya. There is no choice here. I will take 2-3 items, I will delete 2-3, I will reject, or I will say something different to it. In that sense, I am traditionalist, you are not. In this way, he has answered to Aldous Huxley. So it is very difficult to digest writers like Anand Kumaraswamy because he is talking about tradition not in the sense of Vedic tradition, Jain tradition, Buddhist tradition, Christian tradition. He is not talking about. For him, exists only two entities. One is tradition, another is modernity. That is his position. Because ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅಪರಾಧಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಅಪರಾಧ. Anand Kumaraswamy ಒಂದು ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. I have written a book about Anand Kumaraswamy. When I was going through this, I got this idea. He is a traditionalist in the sense that he accepts wisdom which is coming to him down the centuries, maybe from 10,000 years, maybe 20,000 years, whatever. In that, he is not making any differentiation between so-called tribal, modern, ethnic, all that. He has written an article called Primitive Art. Why primitive art is equal to any kind of art, that he says. In that he says that when you draw a circle, either a small circle or a big circle, end of the day, it is decided by the circumference. Only there is a difference in the circumference, but the center is the same and the nature of the circle is the same. Only based on the circumference we cannot say that circle which has bigger circumference has a greater artistic value or philosophical value. That he is not agreeing. Why I am connecting these points is that he is talking about Mitravaruna or Indragni or Indra Bruhaspati as one couple, as one married couple. That is the concept. Only at the concept level we have to take. That is the, like as I told, as the marriage between the spiritual authority and regnum. That is about Brahma and Kshatriya. This is the one point he gives. Then he supports it in the following pages. As I told you, this book has got only this published from Munshira Manohar Lal, 87 pages book. Only 87 pages. But it has the number of footnotes given by Anand Kumaraswamy are more than 75. For 87 pages book, he has given 75 pages. So that shows how deeply he has invested his time and mind in writing books, all the books, but especially the last 2-3 books, namely Time and Eternity and Spiritual Authority and Temporal Power in the Indian Theory of Government. Therefore, forget about talking about Anand Kumaraswamy or translating. Ganesh ji has told that. Even reading becomes a challenge. So, that is because maybe so many ideas or whatever he has read, he could recollect them so easily, and he has arranged perhaps his library in such a way, whatever his personal library in such a way, that everything is very handy to him. Everything is in the fingertips to him. So everything he is taking and he is arranging them in such a way. It is similarly, if I quote the example, like how after preparing the dish, we will dress, there is a dressing the table and dressing and presenting the food, or for the gods, we make the garland and we decorate in the temples. Like that, for him, such kind of writings are an alankara in the real sense, embellishment from inside, not from outside. Therefore, all these footnotes, corollaries, they are not coming like in our today's PhD or MPhil dissertations. They are not coming from outside. When we read that, they are so easily connected. Only we will be baffled that how could so much of things can rush to him. Like Professor Vidyalankara S.K. Ramachandra Rao, one of the great personalities India has produced in the last century. He is from Karnataka, from Bangalore he was there. He says that, I will read in Kannada, then I will translate to English. ವೇದದ ಸಂದೇಶವನ್ನು ಅವರು ಎದೆಯಾಳದಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬಿಕೊಂಡಂತೆ ಯಾವ ಹಿಂದುವೂ ನಂಬಿಕೊಳ್ಳಲಿಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತು ಭಾರತದ ಕಲೆಯಾಗಲಿ ಧರ್ಮವಾಗಲಿ ತನ್ನ ಗುಟ್ಟನ್ನು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಟ್ಟಂತೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಬಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರಾಚೀನ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಗೆ ಅವರು ಮಾರು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದುದು ಅದರ ಆದರ್ಶವನ್ನು ಮರಳಿಸಲೆಂದು ಅವರು ತಪಸ್ಸು ಮಾಡಿದರು. ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ಷಂಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಆರ್ಟ್, ಏನ್ಷಂಟ್ ಧರ್ಮ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ given out its truth or secret to others as it has given to Anand Kumaraswamy, says S.K. Ramchandra Rao. It is really, when we read his writings, especially the additional notes what he gives in support of his, then we will be astonished to know that how can he collect and arrange so much of data with so much of logical rigor. There is no emotional element in it. It is not emotive. It may arouse emotion in your mind about your culture. That is not the thing, because he was trained as a geologist. He was an MSc. So that scientific course or the education he has mentioned about himself has come very handy to him, very useful to him in writing his papers and books. Means whatever the science background he had, it was very useful for him to write about arts and art subjects, and more precisely about philosophy. In his time, while talking about philosophy, there was a kind of compartmentalization that exists till today also, because his time was very challenging one compared to today's times. No internet, no Google. Now if I want, within 1 hour or 2 hours, when the internet speed is more, in the midnight time or after the dinner, I can sit and open IGNCA PDF section. I can get most of his works into my computer. Whether I understand it or not, that's a different thing. But I can just collect it within no time. But to collect that much of material, like many other scholars during his time, he has taken very painstaking research. Secondly, Anand Kumaraswamy was not an armchair philosopher. That came in the morning also. Because when he is writing about a government, how the government should be, in that what is the position of a Brahmana and Kshatriya or Brahma and Kshatra, when he is talking about it, he is not talking in vacuum. British Empire, it existed here. It was there from Malaysia to Canada or something like that. And out, he was for Indian freedom struggle. He was supporting it. Therefore, he was not given any position or any job in India. BHU was there. He was not even given a job even in BHU. He has to go to Boston. Though he was born to British parents and Sinhalese parents, he didn't get any job either in Sri Lanka or India, or forget about Britain. I don't know. I have one research thing to submit, Nivedane in Kannada we say. When I was translating Dhananjay Kir's biography on Veer Savarkar, name of the book is Veer Savarkar. It is 722 pages. Here there is one mention about one Kumaraswamy. It is C-O-O Kumaraswamy. The same spelling as this Kumaraswamy. What is the context? They are having a secret society in London, and for the complete freedom of India, for the Purna Swarajya of India, Savarkar proposes, and C-O-O-M-A-R Swami seconds it, writes Dhananjay Kir, and he gives no hints. I asked his son, Dhananjay Kir's son, he lives in Ratnagiri. He said, I don't know anything, but that is if some British intelligence records, were there British police or CIDs behind him, because he was a staunch nationalist. His nationalism is not based on politics. It was not like Tilak's kind or of Gandhi's kind. It was a kind of artistic, art-based nationalism. Because he believed, again coming to politics, only artists can rule the world. Only artists can guide the society. That is his one of his very basic sutra, basic statement of Anand Kumaraswamy. Essays in National Idealism, Art and Swadeshi. These two books also talks about, not only about art and Swadeshi, it also peripherally touches about the colonial expansion of the British, not only from an artistic point of view, even from the administrative point of view, he touches those things. Therefore, keeping this mind, that in 1942 when he wrote this book and published this book, and before that he translated Renegon's book into English, he must be under the radar of the empire, British Raj. Though he was in America. America and Britain, politically they belong to the same Axis group, the Friends group. So he, in this book, he also continues, based on his using his footnotes, that the same Indra and Agni concept he brings to the Mahabharata times, and he relates with Krishna Arjuna. So Arjuna is Indra, and here he says that, now bearing in mind that Arjuna is Indra, or what amounts to the same thing, Indra's son in Mahabharata, that Krishna and Arjuna, like Indragni and like Matali and Indra, share a common car, and that where these are, Krishna the Lord of Yoga and Arjuna the archer, there are fortune, victory, security of being, and governmental science. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Tatra Partho Dhanurdaraha. So we know that sloka. Means wherever Krishna and Arjuna are there, as a Yamala or as a Yugma or as couple or one set of people having two distinct qualities which are supplementing each other, which are in samarasya, harmony with each other, definitely you will get three kinds of benefits. Outcome. What is the outcome according to Mahabharata? One is that you will get fortune, you will get victory, security of being, and governmental science. That is the real political science. Governmental science is that where Krishna Arjuna exist together. Means we do Krishna Upasana. Krishna Bhakti is there. Rama Bhakti is there. But he is telling this Krishna Arjuna concept or Indra Matali concept or Indra Agni concept is together. That means one who drives the chariot, whatever may be the chariot, it may be the government, it may be the house, it may be an office, and the person who gives wisdom to run that structure, both should be in harmony. Now comes the next question, what do you mean by harmony? ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಡತಿಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪವರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಗಂಡಂಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪವರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೋ, ವೆದರ್ ದ ವಿಮೆನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಮೋರ್ ಪವರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಲೈಫ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಮ್ಯಾನ್? Answer is very clear. I cannot tell that. So our starting point where he says that mixta persona, he calls this as mixta persona. Earlier there were two personalities. In our vivaha also, they say that earlier there were two. Now they become one couple. But this is not a contract. Like in the European context of government and of marriage by Rousseau and other three contract philosophers of 19th century, this is not a contract for us. It's not a oppanda. Vivaha oppanda is not a treaty between two families. It will happen in India also, in Bollywood and in big business houses, tycoons. They will have that. I'm talking about regular India, not irregular. There, marriage we say that it is forever. Married means once forever. That concept he talks in Dance of Shiva, in the chapter The Status of Indian Woman. Each is both. That is the word told by Anand Kumar. Each is both. That means you cannot separate man and woman. You cannot separate Shiva and Parvati. In this context of my presentation, you cannot separate Krishna and Arjuna or Indra and Agni. Why I am stressing this point? Go to this Vidhan Sauda, which is from here, half a kilometer. Where is Agni? Where is Krishna? Where is Indra? Where is Hendati? Or where is Ganda? That means there is no, I am not joking, just I gave the example. In today's political system, I am not talking about Indian political system or European or American or North Korea. I am not talking about any particular set of government. Where are the people who can give direction to the masters, who are masters in the state of art of running the government? They will have some advisory body which is nonsense. All are there for Padma Shri, Padma Bhushana, Padma Vibhushana. They are just there, here and there, scattered. Some writers, some scholars, some scientists or engineers. But people who are of the worthy metal, for example, come to the times of Chandragupta Maurya, there is one Chanakya. Come to the times of Hakkabukka, Harihara, there is one Vidyaranya. Come to the times of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, there is Samartha Ramdasa, right? There is one spiritual power. Many people, they got inspiration from one Vivekananda, one Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, even political administrators. There is no backing of wisdom for running the chariot called government. That is the agony, that is the anger in Ananda Kumaraswamy. This is a sattvika anger of a Rishi or a Rishi Sadrusha Vyakti, personality. Therefore, he is not writing this book in silos, in an AC conditioned room, air conditioned room. He is seeing everything. He is seeing America. 1942 means already there in the middle of the Second World War. So he is seeing where is only one, maybe Truman is there, or maybe one Henry Kissinger is there who is giving some diplomatic advices to the then government, but he is not like one Chanakya or like one Krishna. In this way, the question which was raised by in the beginning of the Second World War by his mentor René Gon in the French book, in the French language book, that is Spiritual Authority and Temporal Power. In the book, I didn't find the exact line. It is here that we may not. He says in this book, René Gon says we may not find the perfect concept. Forget about the harmony. First of all, perfect picture or perfect concept of a Brahmana or a Brahma or a wise person's picture, image, we will not get in entire European history. That means ಯುರೋಪಿನ ಇತಿಹಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರು ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯುರೋಪ್ ಕೆ ಇತಿಹಾಸ में ब्राह्मण नहीं है. ब्राह्मण means philosophically I am talking, not like on caste. There was one Plato, maybe, but he was not Christian. He was a Greek. There must be somebody during the Roman Empire, but after the Orthodox Church, Greek Church, and later the Catholic Church, later the great revolutionary Protestant Church, there were no Brihaspatis, there were no Agnis, there were no Krishnas to guide one Matali or one Indra or one Arjuna or one ruler, one political ruler. Therefore, so much of chaos, so much of turbulence, so much of bloodshed is a part and parcel of European history. Either it is jihad or it is holy war. Everywhere you can see there is no century in European history in the last 2000 years where there is no war between two territories or two kingdoms or two states. Because they have the political ambitions, they have the Kshatriyas, they have the people who have got little bit taking my lecture further, they are all having Rajasa Swabhava. They are all Rajasa. But there is no Sattva or Sattvika Shakti which can, Sattvika power, authority which can guide them. This is the point he is telling. This was the pain. This was the question raised but unanswered or answered only halfway through by Renegon. Ananda Kumaraswamy, as a continuity of the book of Renegon, he continues this and he writes, he takes pain to go to our Vedic literature. But the sad part is that today also, in our political science department or in our ancient history departments, as I know, people are not referring this. In Kannada language, our Ganesh ji has written, actually has given a lecture in Gokhale Institute of Public Affairs about our Kshatra Parampara. Later it is published as Bharatiya Kshatra Parampara. Now it is available in English also. In that also, not exactly, but that book also goes in the same line. That between Kshatra and Brahma, there should be a harmony. This is not like a very alankarika thing. This is not telling just for the sake of telling, always there should be wise people and brave people together. No. This is how politics was and politics has to be. Is the theory of Ananda Kumaraswamy. Therefore, my topic is, what is the theory of Ananda Kumaraswamy based on this? Whether you have democracy, autocracy, whatever types of government, but there is no wise. When Mao Tse-tung killed so many people, or Stalin or Lenin, they killed so many people, or Hitler, they killed so many people, there were no rishis, there were no people guiding them. That is the thing happened in the modern context. Or take the example of Cambodia, Pol Pot, bones and bones. If the archaeologists, if they go to Cambodia for any excavation, other than getting any artifacts or temples or pillars, inscriptions, rather they will get human skulls and bones. I have been there to Cambodia. There are a lot of pictures available, the deeds of Pol Pot. And tomorrow we don't know what Kim has done in North Korea. Means we should read Ananda Kumaraswamy not as some paleontology subject, some archaist subject who is there for some great scholars sitting somewhere in Mars or maybe in Moon. No, it is for how to run a good life, how to have a good governance, how to have a good government. For that, is there any wisdom which we can draw from our ancestors and from our ancient literature? To answer that, this book is a very good opening. So he says that Mitra is the council and Varuna the power. Mitra the Brahma and Varuna the Kshatra. Mitra the knower and Varuna the executive. Mitra the knower, he has the knowledge of it, and Varuna, he is the executor. He is the Kartru, whereas the Mitra is the knower. This concept, when he is telling, you must also appreciate these Vedic gods concept, they are not again watertight compartments. Indra can come separately, Agni can come separately, or Varuna can come separately, but Indra Agni can be as a combined thing also. This is there in the Vedas. Otherwise, what happens, as many historians have written, Varuna is not a Hindu god, is not a Vedic god, he is coming from somewhere from Persia or from that side, from today's Afghanistan or from Hindu Kush side, because in all of his sculptures there is a shoes, boots. That boots is absent in rest of all Hindu gods' sculptures. Because Varuna may have boots or may not have boots. Boots means, it should be shown or can it be hidden? We don't know. So this concept, what I have told, this concept he develops in the coming pages and he brings it into a more popular term. He calls the Agni as the Purohita. Just for our understanding, it is there in Kumaraswamy. He is the Purohita and the king is the one who leads. So that means the king, the Raja or Maharaja should have Purohita. Everyone in the hall may wonder, what is there? What Mr. Harisha is telling, everything we know. In all the kings, they had Purohitas to fix the Jataka or for the good Shubhapala or for all the naming ceremony of the child. Mahurta, it is there for Lagna, good Lagna, auspicious dates, Lagna. No. This is the point now. I don't know how the audience will take this. Who is stronger now? King is stronger or Purohita is stronger? This is very difficult to ask this question in secular India. Brahmana or Brahma is more, Brahma should lead Kshatra or Kshatra should control Brahma. Should spiritual authority guide temporal power? This is the topic. Or temporal power will tell Brahma what it should do and what it should not do. If that happens, that is communism. You should write like this, you have to do painting like this, you have to do sculpture like this, then that is. Read George Orwell's 1984. We'll come to know a lot of things. Or Solzhenitsyn's A Day in the Life of Ivan Illich. We will come to know what has happened to artists and free thinkers in that part of the world. Therefore, here he is telling the choice is mutual, means who should be the Purohita, who should be the king, there is a choice. That means he is telling this Varna Ashrama Paddhati is very flexible. Tomorrow you are king and that person is Purohita, that is fine. But once it is accepted in that kingdom or in that time period, then there are duties for a Purohita, there are Lakshanas for a Purohita, for a Brahma, and there are Lakshanas, characters for a Kshatriya, for people who are having valor, administrative power, executors, both are there. Anyway, here he says that if Purohita leads the government, that means he is the knower. The knower will guide the government, and the executor, doer, kartru, he will do it, then it is a happy marriage. In that context, he is bringing the word marriage. That means an advisor or a wise person, Brahma, is telling this is the way, Chandragupta, you do like this. Arjuna, you do like this. Or Dharmaraja, you do like this. Don't do that. This is wrong, this is right. This is not niti. That means this is not like saying, okay, you can do this. Like once this Yutrashtra was not getting sleep, then he will call this Vidura in the night, and there will be one Sanatsu Jatiya. And after that again Yudhishthira will do all nonsense things and people will go for war. It is not like that. Like sometimes you will have cultural programs to fit the timetable, right? Some dance program, some musical. It's not like that. It's not a filler. Please understand. The role of Brahma is very serious in politics. We, after getting 78 years of independence, are we respecting Brahma? Are we respecting wisdom? Are we respecting the knowledgeable people? There may be knowledge commissions and whatnot. I'm not going to the governmental structures, but real knowledgeable people, are they respected? Not only of today. Please don't mistake Anand Kumaraswamy. He is not talking about the contemporary history at all. For him, contemporary starts from 10,000 years or 5,000 years. Very long background is there. So, all that wisdom, maybe from Eckhart, maybe from Thomas Aquinas, maybe from Plato, maybe from Shukraniti, everything, what is its place in the society, in the government, the way in which we are functioning the government becomes autocratic, then the king will become monarch, he will become a tyrant, ಅವನು ದುಷ್ಟನಾಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಸರ್ವಾಧಿಕಾರಿ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ, negative ಆಗಿ, because there is nobody to guide him. This is the marriage. So, the Purohita should guide the Purodhatra. Rajasu should guide the Rajasuya. Means he will do the Rajasuya, but for him to do the Rajasuya, there must be one person who will guide him. Otherwise, the horse will guide him. Wherever the horse takes, it will go. And you know that how much of things have happened in history, in our ancient history, what the horses have done in this context. Very, very clearly, Ananda Kumaraswamy has no temperament to mince his words. He was known for his very straightforward words. You can read his comments about Rice Davids and Lady Rice Davids' Pali Buddhist dictionary. So, he tells that the Agni, again the Purohita or Brahma, Agni is represented by the baked. Agni is mature. Page number 20. Agni is mature material of the altar. When you have the Yajna-kunda, the fire altar, sacred fire altar, in the fire altar, Agni is the baked, because Agni is already Dagdha. Agni is burning with full flame, full fledged. Flame is there. There is nothing to hide or nothing to become more baked. Whereas Indra, by the unbaked, half-baked, immature material. Some immature material you put into it, again that is also baked. That means Purohita will burn. How you do the bronze metal casting and all, he will burn that metal and give it an artistic shape. This is casting. This work is done by the Purohita. Then a beautiful Shilpa like Chandragupta or Krishnadevaraya or Harihara or Chhatrapati Shivaji will emerge, or one Louis XIV or one Rahul Gandhi or one Pol Pot or one Mussolini, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, they will emerge. So this is the very serious note on which he has talked about politics and political thing in a purely philosophical way of understanding. So, ಯಾವುದು ಬೆಂದಿದೆಯೋ ಅದು ಬೇಯದೇ ಇರೋದನ್ನ ಬೇಯಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವುದು ಅರೆ ಬೆಂದಿದೆಯೋ ಅದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಅರೆ ಬೆಂದಿರೋದನ್ನ ಬೇಯಿಸಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ದಡ್ಡ ನೀನು ದಡ್ಡ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕಂಬೈನ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಲೈಕ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ದ ಬೇಕ್ಡ್ will make the half baked and convert it into a completely fully baked. The complete will make the other part complete. That is the beauty of a couple.